Most travelers believe that if their information is correct, Vietnam's eVisa system will approve the application. And on paper, that sounds reasonable. You check your passport details, upload the documents, pay the fee, and expect it to work. But this is where many people get caught off guard. Vietnam eVisa rejections often happen not because the information is wrong, but because it isn't entered in the exact way the system expects. The difference between correct and acceptable is small, and it's where most problems start. By the end of this video, you'll understand why Vietnam eVisas get rejected, even when travelers follow the rules. More importantly, you'll know how to avoid wasting visa fees, missing flights, facing last-minute visa emergencies, or making things worse by reapplying the wrong way. A few small details handled early can save a lot of stress later. 1. Correct information can still fail the system key. This is where most travelers feel confident, and that's exactly why problems start. Many people assume Vietnam's eVisa works like other visa systems, where a human reviewer can understand intent. If the information is correct, small formatting differences shouldn't matter. In reality, Vietnam's eVisa system is highly rule-based and unforgiving. It doesn't interpret. It checks whether your information fits very specific technical rules. That means your details can be accurate, but still fail the system. A name entered in the wrong order, a missing middle name, an extra space, or a document that doesn't meet strict formatting standards can trigger rejection. From the system's perspective, it's not almost right, it's simply not acceptable. What works better is treating the application like a data matching exercise, not a form you casually fill out. Every field must match your passport exactly, character by character, including spacing and order. If something looks minor, it usually isn't. And this is why travelers who are careful but not precise are often the most surprised when their eVisa gets rejected. 2. Passport photo issues. Travelers underestimate. This is one of the most common rejection reasons, and also one of the least understood. Many travelers upload a passport photo that looks perfectly fine on their screen. The text is readable, the image is clear enough, and nothing seems wrong. But Vietnam's eVisa system doesn't judge photos the way humans do. It checks technical details first. Low resolution is a frequent issue, especially when photos are taken with older phones or compressed during upload. Shadows, glare from overhead lights, or slight reflections on the passport cover can also cause problems. Cropping is another big one. If the image cuts too close to the edges, especially near the MRZ lines at the bottom of the passport, the system may not be able to scan it properly. Passport wear matters more than people expect. Small tears, water damage, faded text, or worn MRZ lines can quietly trigger rejection. What works better is using a flat, evenly lit scan or photo, taken straight on, with no glare and full borders visible. If you think it looks fine, that's usually the warning sign. 3. Name formatting and middle name mismatches. This is another area where travelers think they've done everything right, and still get rejected. Many people enter their name the way they normally use it, not the way it appears in the passport's machine readable zone, or MRZ. Vietnam's eVisa system relies heavily on exact character-by-character matching. That means missing a middle name, adding an extra space, or changing the order of names can be enough to cause a problem. Middle names are a common trap. Some travelers leave them out because other visa systems allow it. Others include them, but place them in the wrong field. Even small differences, like an extra space between names, can break the match. Name order matters too. The MRZ follows strict formatting rules, and the eVisa system often checks against it, rather than the visual name on the passport page. What works better is copying names exactly as they appear in the MRZ, not how they're displayed or commonly written. This alignment also matters later, because airlines, visas, and passport records must all match. When they don't, problems usually show up at the worst possible time, not during the application, but at check-in. 4. Passport validity and condition, not just expiration date. This catches a lot of travelers off guard because they stop checking too early. Most people look only at the expiration date and assume that if the passport is still valid, it's good to go. But Vietnam looks beyond that. Your passport usually needs at least 6 months of validity at the time of entry, not just on the day you apply. If the remaining validity is borderline, the system may still reject the application. Blank pages matter too. Even if you're using an eVisa, immigration still expects sufficient space for entry and exit stamps. Passports that are nearly full can quietly cause problems. Condition is another overlooked issue. Even slight water damage, small tears, loose binding, or worn MRZ lines at the bottom of the passport page can interfere with scanning. Travelers often assume this only matters at the airport, but actually it can affect the eVisa review stage as well. Vietnam tends to be stricter here than some neighboring countries, especially when the passport shows signs of wear. What works better is applying with a passport that is clearly valid, in good condition, and well within the 6-month window. Cutting it close often leads to rejection, and usually there's no explanation. 5. Entry date logic errors that look correct. This is where timing, not accuracy, quietly causes issues. Many travelers assume the visa validity start date should match the day they arrive. On Vietnam's eVisa, though, that isn't always how the system interprets it. Confusion between the visa's start date and the actual arrival date leads to applications that look correct, but don't line up with how the system processes them. Applying too close to departure is another common issue. When an application is submitted just days before a flight, any delay, manual review, or system backlog leaves no room to fix mistakes. Travelers often don't realize there's no fast-track option once the application is in. Overlapping visa attempts can make things worse. If a previous application is still in the system, even if it failed or is pending, a new one may conflict without warning. Time zones add another layer. Vietnam processes applications on local time, not the travelers. A date that looks correct at home can shift in the system overnight. What works better is building in buffer time and making sure all dates align logically within Vietnam's processing timeline. Small timing errors often fail silently, with no clear explanation. 6. Previous Vietnam visa history still matters. This is something many travelers don't realize until it happens to them. If you've been to Vietnam before, your visa history doesn't simply disappear. Old overstays, frequent extensions, or repeated visa runs are often assumed to be forgiven once you've left the country. Many travelers think, "That was years ago, it doesn't matter anymore." But that isn't always how the system works. Vietnam keeps internal records that travelers never see. If a previous stay involved overstaying, border issues, or unusual visa patterns, it can quietly affect future eVisa applications. There's usually no alert, no explanation, and no chance to address it in the form itself. What makes this frustrating is that nothing in the current application looks wrong. All the information can be correct, the documents clear, and the timing reasonable. Yet the application still gets rejected. What works better is understanding that past travel behavior can still influence approval, even years later. If you've had issues before, applying earlier and avoiding last-minute plans gives you more options. When history is the problem, the system rarely tells you. It simply says no. 7. Multiple applications trigger red flags. This is where panic turns a small problem into a bigger one. When travelers don't hear back quickly or receive a rejection, the instinct is to apply again immediately. Sometimes they submit 2 or 3 applications, hoping one will go through. In Vietnam's eVisa system, this often backfires. Multiple applications can create duplicate records tied to the same passport. If even small details differ, a date, a name format, or a document upload, the system may flag the entries as conflicting. Instead of fixing the issue, reapplying too quickly can reduce approval chances. There's also a timing issue. If a previous application is still pending in the system, a new one may not replace it. It simply adds confusion. Travelers assume the newest application will override the old one, but that isn't guaranteed. What works better is stopping, reviewing exactly what went wrong, and waiting until the system fully clears the earlier attempt. In many cases, patience is actually safer than rushing to fix a mistake. Acting too fast often creates new problems that are harder to undo. This is where panic turns a small problem into a bigger one. When travelers don't hear back quickly or receive a rejection, the instinct is to apply again immediately. Sometimes they submit multiple applications, hoping one will go through. In Vietnam's eVisa system, this often makes things worse. Each application creates a separate record tied to your passport. When the system sees duplicates, it can flag them automatically. If even small details differ, a date, a name format, or a document upload, those records may conflict. Instead of correcting the issue, repeated applications can actually lower your chances of approval. Timing matters here as well. If a previous application is still pending, a new one doesn't always replace it. Both can remain in the system at the same time, creating confusion during review. Many travelers assume the newest submission overrides the old one, but that's not how the system reliably works. What works better is pausing, identifying the exact issue, and waiting until the earlier application is fully resolved. In many cases, patience is safer than trying to fix everything immediately. 8. Payment confirmation is not approval. This is honestly one of the most misunderstood parts of the entire process. When travelers see a successful payment confirmation, they assume the visa is now being reviewed. Some believe payment means the application is already moving forward. In Vietnam's eVisa system, that assumption causes a lot of confusion. Payment only confirms that the fee was received. It does not mean the application has been reviewed, accepted, or even fully processed. An application can still be rejected later for technical or data-related reasons, even after payment goes through. This is also why refunds are rare. The fee is tied to the submission, not the outcome. Travelers often feel frustrated when an application is rejected and there's no refund, especially if they believe they did everything right. Delays make this worse. When processing takes longer than expected, people start reapplying, changing details, or contacting airlines, often increasing stress and creating new problems. What works better is treating payment as the starting line, not the finish. Until the eVisa is officially approved and issued, nothing is guaranteed, regardless of what the payment screen suggests. 9. Why rejection emails? Give no clear reason. This is often the most frustrating part of the experience. When a Vietnam eVisa is rejected, the email usually contains a vague, generic message. There's no clear explanation, no highlighted error, and no specific instruction on what to fix. Travelers naturally want to know what went wrong, but detailed reasons are rarely provided. This isn't personal, and it isn't random. The system is designed for efficiency, not case-by-case explanations. Many rejections are triggered by technical checks or internal rules that aren't exposed to applicants. Providing individualized feedback would slow the process, so it simply doesn't happen. The problem is what comes next. Without a clear reason, travelers start guessing. They change random details, re-upload the same documents, or submit multiple applications, often repeating the same underlying mistake. What works better is shifting focus away from the rejection email itself. Instead of chasing an explanation that may never come, it's more effective to carefully review every detail against strict system expectations. Precision, consistency, and timing matter far more than understanding the rejection message. If you remember only one thing from this video, let it be this. Most Vietnam eVisa problems don't come from travelers doing something wrong. They come from small system-level precision failures that happen quietly, without warning. The information is accurate, the intention is honest, but the format, timing, or consistency doesn't meet what the system expects. That's why these rejections feel so confusing. From the traveler's perspective, everything looks correct. From the system's perspective, something doesn't line up exactly, and that's enough to stop the application. The mindset shift is simple, but important. Accuracy alone isn't enough. Vietnam's eVisa process rewards precision, alignment, and patience. When details match perfectly and timing is handled early, most problems never appear. A few extra minutes of careful checking can save days of stress, lost fees, and disrupted travel plans.